no regrets. There is Councillor Manzer, Councillor Tudor, Councillor Thurber, Deputy Warden Ross, and of course our staff of Manager of Municipal Services, Manager of Corporate Services, CAO, and Administrative Assistant. On saying that, I would ask us all to pause to seek guidance. Okay. The first is the approval of the agenda. Before we do that, is there any additions or deletions?
Motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Approval of the minutes of April 12th, 2022. Is there any errors or omissions?
I move approval of the minutes for April 12th, 2022.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. There is no presentations or delegations this evening. So is there any unfinished business from the minutes of April 12th, 2022 anyone would like to bring forward?
Jesus, no. Angelique must have something. No.
The next then, my gosh, are we really here? Is the CAO report. Just to remind you, May 17th is our bylaw policy, which I will not be here because I'm in Newfoundland, but I'd like to be able to call in if it's possible, because that's not a council meeting, right? So I can call in and talk. Okay. And May 24th, there is no meeting, and May 31st is council.
It might be time for us to change that policy, or is that governed by the MGA?
What?
By people calling in with the...
That's not, we're not a council meeting.
I mean, like, in general, like,
Oh,
the
no,
age
that's
of COVID.
no, that's the province that tells us.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, but we are allowed a bylaw
our own
policy.
policy. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And just point of clarification, it is our own policy right now, right?
Yeah.
The province distributed a sample one. We've got it on our agenda to discuss in the future.
Oh.
But it's our policy that restricts that, right? We get the power to do it through the MGA, but it's our policy that we don't have a virtual council meeting policy. So that's what we'll be looking at.
Oh, we're going to be looking at in the future? And it's wise, I think, with modern life, I guess.
On June 14th, I will be absent.
Okay. First and second, June the 7th, and that was a date change. Public Works, TIR, and bylaw and policy. And again, I would like to come in by, we're in Regina. And Angela will be the same.
Are you sure that's where you are on the 7th?
Yeah, I'm positive I'm in Regina.
Where do you think you are on the 7th?
I'll be on my way. I'll be up in the air.
Yeah. So you can call?
Yeah, I can call because I'll be in Regina.
Okay. I think when you look at your travel agenda, I'm just saying specifically during our meeting, because of when...
I will be on a plane.
On a plane.
But I won't be.
Staying extra.
And is it backwards or forwards?
Time is back.
So I'll be talking to you guys at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? Yeah. And on June 14th, George won't be available. So just remember, there'll be 2 of us missing on the 7th. 14th, it will just be 1 of us.
Yep.
There's no meeting on the 21st, and on June 28th is council. Hearing that, with the meeting dates and reminders, next was the CAO update. Is there any concerns or questions? Again, I love the yellow because it highlights everything.
Mm-hmm.
Any progress on the levy?
I'm sorry.
So I think anything that can't be or hasn't been reported in camera is highlighted in yellow.
So other than this, there hasn't been anything else?
We've talked about it, I think, 5 meetings in a row in camera. So again, that's been the updates provided there. Everything else is in yellow.
Okay.
When you said it, I was thinking the New Year's levy at first.
No.
I don't know why my head went there.
Still early for that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, why are we, you know, one or the other. So, no further questions, then it's a departmental, report. Is there any?
Yeah, I was really enthused with Terry, so I sort of felt like it had some good news there on a couple levels. So I liked it, and it's also really nice to see that there really is a title industry starting here and down on the islands, and talking about going into the gut too. It's kind of exciting.
Any other comments on anybody's staff report? I always find them informative.
Yeah, I do. I find them informative too, for sure.
You know, is one better than the other? I don't think, but some can be
Rank
more,
them A, B, C, D.
no, but some can be a little bit more interesting.
A bonus for
at
A
times.
and a write up for C.
All right, there's no questions. There is no dangerous and unsightly premise, but I'm going to ask this question, and I wasn't sure how to ask the question. Should we be sending a note or anything to Alfred for all his years as the full-time building inspector, or is that being inappropriate? Because I don't even think we're saying get out.
I think while he's still here and employed, we should hold off.
Okay.
Just because he does still have a pretty key role with us.
Oh, yeah, I just wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
No,
No, it's just being thoughtful.
Yep.
Well, then I got thinking, but would it be thought of as thoughtful, or would it be
And
thought of?
that's that balance.
Well, that's
right?
why I'm
That, like,
talking about it.
nudge, nudge. Right?
You don't know, you don't want to
Thank
Oh,
you.
no, I gotta
Yeah,
take it
but-
one more step.
Next. Okay, the next is business items. The Digby Area Health Services Charitable Foundation will be holding their 7th annual golf tournament, and we, in the past, have sponsored a
T-box.
Yeah,
a
$125.
box, or a team, whatever you want to call it. It's $125.
I'll make that motion. I
Okay.
move $125 to the Digby Area Health Services Charitable Foundation for a box.
For
T-box.
T-box.
For that league.
Are you crying? What are you doing? Well, why'd your voice drop like that?
Happy on it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
And did
Trying
you
to do it all in one
second?
bite.
Was there any questions?
Starting to yawn a little bit.
Hearing no questions and concerns, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. And this year, the money is going for something at the hospital.
Lift. Bed lift.
A bed lift, yes. I was gonna say, I read it, then it was gone.
John Lower giving us permission to
Now-
spend money.
The next, under business items, is the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, John Moore. And he is giving us a heads-up notice of what is coming forward, but we don't know yet.
But we got that
because
doubling again of the equalization grant, is that right? Or
Only,
what did I read?
only for this year. Yeah, last year.
Oh, so that was, he's talking about last year with that. Oh, I thought he was.
Yeah, we're not getting anything this coming year.
Oh,
Maybe
shoot.
that's the way to say it.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
The year we're in, we're back to the original amount.
Okay.
Mike is this one.
Sorry, no, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, so just the letter is probably the lengthiest, certainly that I've ever seen. I'll let the warden speak to her experience. So the idea here, even within the first page, the major things are up in the air for this year, but with the length of the letter, you can get the idea that a lot of potential change this year from the provincial government, not much for details to go on, right?
Yeah, this is the vaguest heads up as they can to meet the requirements.
That's it. Now it's hard, to be fair to them, because they're revisiting service exchange for the first time since '95,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know, right? But it just is going to be a year full of
He's taking off on
surprises or interesting information, right?
Like Laura's.
So that's why, and like, that's everything. That's one of the reasons why the letter is so lengthy, but it really is a year where everything is on the.
Yeah, the RCMP collective agreement statement, I was like, what, huh? What are they saying? It's pretty vague.
So just remember, that they're doing, and my concern is that we're gonna come out a bigger loser than we are now. I could be
What,
dead
on
wrong.
all these things for housing and like casework?
Well, you don't know, they're gonna say you need to pay more.
Well,
I mean,
they
like-
don't go through these processes to cost themselves more money, in my experience. They go through these processes to save themselves money. And we're on the other side.
So is anyone good? Actually, there's not a lot we can say except we got the letter.
Oh, yeah, it
Bill
was,
is
it was,
coming in,
it
but
was
I
just-
wanted it there.
yeah, that's it. It was just to make sure everyone understood, what's at play, that the equalization, I know the letter is a little bit trickier on that, but that for this year, we're back to the original, they doubled it once. The idea is that they shouldn't have to do it again, because they're hoping to come to an agreement in the current year we're in. That's how quickly
Geez, I'm gonna rush
this
these
is
guys.
expected to unfold. That will be very interesting to see as we build towards fall, how quick, obviously, we're already in mid-May. So that's a lot of work to be done between now and the fall.
Okay, yes?
Well, I just question about the housing, is that, like, I know where we have that on our budget, is that,
We have to pay excess. Like, whenever's over budget, we have to pay.
It's always been the same price for as long as I've been here.
Help us out here.
the changes to the definition of income for housing programs and services, it talks about the net operating losses?
Yeah, that's what we pay.
Yeah,
Right, but sorry, so we're not one of the units listed.
No, we're
that
not.
Had a bigger impact, right?
yeah.
So they highlighted those ones that were affected. We weren't on that list. Our ongoing experience with housing has been pretty favorable, to be honest. It is a sensitive subject with a lot of units, with where it fits in budgets, with forecasts not being accurate.
Ours is always accurate. Why is
Ours
that?
is- I think we have a very low volume, so because we're rural, some of the areas have higher and bigger facilities.
Did Islander count for the housing for that? Okay, yeah, okay.
So yeah, no, we are lucky. Ours has been very accurate.
Excellent.
But you will continue to hear, and from neighbors very close to us and all down the shore, people that don't have that same experience. So it continues to be a sensitive subject that I expect we'll hear from until next year, part of the service exchange and those discussions, right?
Yep.
Okay, and the next was the letter that, sorry.
It was reorganized.
Under correspondence and proposed reorganization of NSFM, and Warden Eleanor Rolston actually spoke at our spring workshop. And what I'm there sitting, and I remember, and I was sitting there when they made this caucus, the three, which we never had before, which I thought, not probably the greatest idea in the world, but they wanted to try it, and they found it's not been the greatest thing since sliced bread. So now, I would hope on June the 9th that everyone who can be there to be on that meeting that we do our vote, because that is so important. My concern, the only concern I have right now, is I'm not quite sure about how it's going to go about for when they're having a meeting, how they're going to do that, like with all the different people coming in, because it would be a huge board. Yes?
That's why I don't understand why they didn't wait till November when we have NSFM. We all sit at the Weston and everybody raises their hands, just like at FCM. I agree with it. It's just, and there needs to be change, but I think it could wait till November. It doesn't have to be done June the
Because they
9th.
said that would
In the
put
middle
up,
of the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's going to, the crowd there think they're expecting to get is going to be much lower, and I think that's going to, maybe or not, be in favor of what they want to do, so.
my concern is, I hope there's enough people there that, like I said, that's my only concern. I have no problem leaving the caucus structure. I was there before the caucus structure, and I had no problem with it. My concern is with everyone, and when we go to a meeting, I have a concern that we're suddenly gonna vote as a municipal unit, like, I don't know. There's just a few things that, it needs to be sorted out enough so I feel more comfortable, supposedly it will be. I mean, change is hard. I have no problem with the change. I just need to have a few more details for me so I'm comfortable when I vote. Oh, Jeff?
Yeah, so I echo the warden's encouragement on attending that meeting. So one of the other discussions that's happened from a CAO perspective is with some of these changes, it does appear like they're driving some of the discussion to this room for us to have or try and work through as a group. And that is very different than past models, right? Where you either attended the conferences and just trying to understand where that's going to fit in our legislative world, our strategic plan, or what you guys value your time when we are in this room, the community, the whole, or council, how that's going to work, or where NSFM now has to fit in here as we work through some of those issues. So I think reading up and participating in that meeting to understand the changes. I think there's some good ideas coming. This was talked about a lot at the NSFM conference, spring conference we just came back from. I think some tweaks, the system can work, but it's going to take some participation. I do think the timeline, I was not aware of it, but I think it's anchored to the resolutions process has to start again to be ready for fall. So they want to have this meeting to see if this doesn't go well, they'll start the resolution process again, I think, over the summer.
And they said it will be a 5-year plan again, and that's what they're concerned about. That they don't want to go back to another 5-year plan. But I've always been under the impression, if you make changes, then you change the process that you just did. You know, okay, yes, we were doing this, but now we want to do this, and it can change. But I just don't want to feel rushed, and I don't want my council to feel rushed, and I don't want anybody else to feel rushed.
Yeah, it seems a bit
I want us to do what we think is best from what we've read, what we've listened to. I mean, I have listened to Amanda several times, and I mean, she's very interesting. I've talked to some others. You know, I don't want us to move too fast, but I don't want it to be a snail either.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to get into all the meetings, and I don't know everything yet. We never got that visit from Anita.
No.
That's why I think it is being rushed. I'm not against it, but
We need to know more about it.
Yeah. Why can't it wait till the fall? Or, I mean, already they're rushing it. You guys are just going to get back on June the 7th from FCM, and then boom, boom, boom. Like, it's kind of, I don't know.
So. Okay, any further comments? Okay. The next is under is the International Day Against Homophobic and Transphobic. As you know, we do not do proclamations or anything.
There's a policy I wouldn't mind revisiting again, to speak of a policy that's, maybe good for 20 years ago, but maybe not today.
Well, it was changed about 10 years ago, David.
Yeah,
the reason it got changed was...
Truro? Was it?
No, it was to do with Moncton. That when the city got in trouble because they did not want to have something done, and if your policy is you do it, it doesn't matter. For example, and this is how it was looked at here at that
we're not
time.
the Americans.
If the KKK said we want you to make a proclamation,
that's not true. Is it? I don't think that's true at all. It would have happened at some point in Canada.
Well,
is anything like that ever happened that you've noticed in your legal life, Tyler? Like what she's saying? I think you might be confusing us with the states, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, there's KKK up here too.
No, I'm not talking about
white supremacists. But all I'm saying is, what we were told was, with our policy, you can't turn down. The policy is you would declare everything.
I'd like to make a motion that we find out if that's correct.
No.
I wouldn't make a motion
No,
for it.
we don't need a motion. What we will do, we
Direct
will
staff,
put it
then.
on,
Okay.
no, we will put it on the bylaw and policy.
Okay.
And then, once it's there, then staff, through the CAO,
Alright, yes,
We'll do that.
this policy has always bothered me.
yeah, but that.
Yeah,
that's
we'll find
when
out.
it
If you're
cha-
correct, I would
No,
agree.
but that's when it was changed.
If you're correct,
And
I would
that,
agree.
and that was the information that came back to us at that time. Things change, legally things change. But we were told it
Check it
didn't
out.
matter.
Alright,
When
I'm
we
okay with
agreed, we would have to declare it.
I should probably take the lead where it was like a Moncton issue. I don't want Jeff to be biased at all.
I don't think that was necessarily, there've been numerous.
I say Moncton, it might
Clearly
be
Moncton.
sorry, Fredericton.
Yeah, look, he's touchy about
But
Moncton.
I'm trying to be
Again,
careful.
We will look at it at bylaw and policy. I do think there are numerous reasons this policy and similar policies are adopted by municipalities, but we will certainly have a thorough look at it at bylaw and policy and a good discussion.
And there is no in-camera.
Are we done?
It looks like it.
Alright, Linda. You dodged the
There's
bullet. It's gonna harass you. Never mind, nope. Keep going.
Okay. Since there's nothing else, and no one has anything to bring forward that they had on the agenda, but I have adjournment.
So move.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor? Contrary minded?
Boy.
Good night all.
Okay, so